Hello and welcome to this tutorial for PROFOMO. Let me increase the screen and so I can show you better how it works and what you can do with it. So now when you have PROFOMO, I'm sure you are interested to learn how to use it in the best possible way, and I will try to show you as much as possible in this video. We are now logged in with my test account, a virtual assistant account, which you maybe saw when in the demo video about how to register your account. And here is the dashboard, and we have 0 campaigns, 0 notifications. We have several impressions that from an earlier test which I made. So what we do first is to create a campaign, and we just press this, we give it a name. I give it the name test 6, and then the name here is only for your internal notifications or internal use, but the domain here is very important because it's used to create the pixel code. And in my case I will use a test domain I have, which is called toolshq.com. Yeah, so we create this pixel code, and here we have it, and we just click copy this, and you should note here this is a JavaScript code, and it should be in the head, before the end of the head tag, so before the closing tag for the head part of your website. And we copied this, and we can close this now, and then I go to the site where I want to have this installed on, and this is a WordPress site, so I'm in the admin area, and here you can put it on several places depending on which theme and so on and plugins you have. In my case I can choose to put it in the header and footer code manager. This is a free plugin, very easy to use. You just see that you give it a name, internal name. It's a JavaScript, and you can also select here where you want to put it on. But for this purpose it's better to select side-wide, probably because you will be able to set the notification display in the PROFOMO system. And the location here of course should be in the header. So that is one option, and here you enter a snippet code. I will use another option, and that is the code snippets plugin. So I just go to header and footer here, and here you can see, by the way, we already have a pixel code for 66analytics.eula.com, and this is also a free platform, free service, which you can use also to register on, and it registers all visitors on your site. So it's a little bit like Clicky or maybe even Google Analytics, but it's a very good platform, and you can even use it for heat maps. But that was not what I want to talk to, just an extra tip. Here I paste the new pixel code for our notification, and I just save the changes. Other options to put this could be if your theme has some special place where you can put it. For example, Extra in this case, or Divi, they have it in, I think they have it somewhere. They have some place to put it. Most themes actually have a place where to put header codes. But anyhow, we put it in the code snippets. So let's go back now to PROFOMO. Let's, by the way, look at this. Let's visit the site so we can see that there are nothing showing right now, no notification showing. But we will soon fill it up. So we note that you need only to put one of these pixel codes for you can use several notifications on the same site, so you need only one pixel code for notifications. You can put several pixel codes if you for some reason want to divide it, but probably you don't need to. So we create a new notification, and that would take you into the screen where you can find your 15 model types of notifications, and we will pick out each one of them and show you how to do this, and we will fill up the site with notifications on different places and with different triggers. Let's start with information. You just select it here, and well, let's go through so you can see the examples here of the different notifications. So we start with informational, and we scroll down and we click create. And here you see we have four possible configuration tabs. And we start with the name of this notification. Let's just call it my, of course this will only show in the admin area, so it's only for your own use. My first informational info notification. Then you can put a title, and this is what you see here, flash sale. So we just put it info 1. You can spell to info also is better, info 1. And then the description. This is a demo of what we call it, informational. In principle you can write as much as you want here, because it will always fill up with new lines when it's needed. Then we have a very interesting thing here, and that is the image URL. You can actually put any icon there, and it's very easy. I will show you how. You see already that's used an image from the icons8.com, and let's put another image there. So I have here icons8. I'm not signed in or anything else. We would just search for an icon, information for example. We search, and then it will show some free icons. You shouldn't go down into the second area here because that's a paid for. Let's just pick one. Let's pick this one for example. Click on that. Comes up this. We click on download. We click on link CDN free. And we see that 64 times 64 pixel is chosen. And then we don't need the full HTML. We just need this part, which is the direct link to the image. So I copy that, and we go back to notifications, and we put this new there. And you see up here it changed in the preview. And we can put an alt tag there also if you want. Then there's the possibility to have a notification URL if you want, and if somebody should want to click on this widget, it will come to this URL you put here. Let me just put URL for the sales page on Gumroad for PROFOMO, and then we can choose if a new tab or on the existing tab. Normally you would like a new tab in this case. I click update, and we are ready with the basic settings. Now next step is the triggers, and here you can choose where you want this to trigger. If you want it on all pages, you just choose this on. If you don't want it on all pages, or you want to show it on specific pages, you can either choose exact match, and then you have to put the exact match of the page you want to show it on. It can be the home page or any other internal page, but it should be on the same domain where you created this campaign. You have also other options here. You can exclude pages with this. You can also choose some code words for this, like for example, if you want to go directly into a certain part of a page. And well, you see the options here. You can even have special text that search for text. But anyhow, we will trigger on all pages in this case. Then you have the option how it will, or when it will trigger. Here we selected where, and now we'll select when. You can enter a delay, then it will start to display after the number of seconds which you set down here when the visitor lands on the page, or in this case any page on this site. And that is pretty simple and the standard for such notifications. Then you have the exit intent, and that is when somebody moved the cursor outside of the window, it will trigger directly. You can also trigger a scroll percentage. For example, if somebody scrolls, let's say 20% down on the page, you just enter 20 here. It can be whatever figure, of course. Don't put the percent sign. Then we have some very interesting stuff here, and that is you can either choose mouse click or mouse hover. And hover is, or this works the same. So let's look at mouse hover. And here you can put an ID, CSS ID or CSS class where you want this to trigger. And let's go back into the site here where we want to put this on. And let's see how we can find these CSS entries. So we will inspect this page. We will check on this part. So we want this to trigger when somebody hover over the navigation. And the div ID for this is IT navigation or ET navigation. You can also see it out here. So we can go here. Let's see if I can select this correctly. I copy that, and it's important to have the full text here, inclusive the ladder. We go back here and we put this in that field, and so that takes care of the trigger of this notification. Then you can select how often it should be triggered. You can select all the time. It means that it will be triggered on all pages which we had up here, and every time the page is renewed or reloaded. And the other option is that it will be triggered once per session, and that's set by cookies on the visitor's browser. Next time they come back, it will be triggered again. And this is once per browser. It means that it will be saved in the visitor's browser that is being triggered, and it will not trigger again as long as the visitor doesn't clean the cookies on his browser. Then you can select if you want it displayed on small screens, on large screens, or both. I leave both on. Click Update. Then we have the display. Where do we want this to be displayed on the page you selected? Here is the direction how you want this to be entered. I will choose right to left in this case, because I will display this top right, because since we have the hover over the navigation, and that is normally up to the right, or in this case it's up to the right, so I wanted to display when somebody hover over that navigation menu. So we select top right. Then we can select duration, and we can here choose when it will close automatically. If we wanted to keep it on, we should just put -1 here. But in this case, let's say I want it to display for 10 seconds. And then it will close by itself. Then we can choose if we want to display the close button or not. Close button is this small X up here. And the other is if you want to display branding or not. Branding is this, which you actually can set your own branding in the... I'll see what you can do with that actually. So you can, if you want this or not, now actually it should disappear here, but it will disappear in the, probably when we update it. Okay, I see that this was not correct. The display of this left to right, it's if you have another language who is right to left oriented, you can choose this. Still we want this top right, so that is fine. This had nothing to do with the entry, so I correct myself there. Other ways, we are ready with the display, and then we can set the color of the title. Let's put it red one here. And the description we can put blue, for example. Background we can change color of if we want. I like to keep it white, otherwise you can put whatever color you want. For this case I prefer white. You can also select a background of the notification. Normally I prefer not to have any background because we want the text to be as visible as possible. So I will keep it like that. The close button up here you can also select the color of. Let's make that red also. You see there. Then there's a border, and I think border is a good idea normally. So we'll put a red border, and we will make it a little bit more mark. I will put it on 3 pixels, so nobody can miss this notification. Then you can choose the corners straight, round, or rounded. I prefer normally the rounded, and that's also the default. You can display a shadow if you want to, and that's also can be a good idea to make it stand out a little bit better. Then you have the different kind of animations. In this case we have only fade in, and well, we have slide in, we have slide in up, slide in down. In this case, let's select bounce in, for example. Can be interesting, and in this case let's choose slide out up. If you want an animation, and that's of course if you have something in notification showing a longer time than in this case 10 seconds, you might want to have some animation on it while it's showing. In this case, okay, let's we had a bounce on entry. Let's put one more bounce, and let's put that after 5 seconds, so it will bounce once during the display time. And font, you can select font if you want, otherwise you just keep it inherit from website, and update. And in principle now this is ready. The only thing that remains to do is to switch it on, and that's what you do with this status button. So now it's switched on, and we can go back to the campaigns. Well, let's watch it on the site first. I will renew this site. I will click. I will keep control while I click reload. And now, if everything works, when I put the hover over here, it will show, and as you see, it does. And that was the second bounce, and now it will disappear after now. So you see it works exactly like we wanted it. Now let's go back to notifications and campaign. Go into this campaign again, and let's create a new notification. In this case, I will not go through all of this, but let's create a video notification. So we select video here, we select create, and we call it something, my first video notification. This is a video notification. You see it follows here. Then it takes only YouTube now for now, and I will just put some of my videos here. You see it can either be the embed link or the direct link. I have a direct link here, which I hope should work. Then we have the button here where we want this to go to when somebody clicked the button. And I would just put the link to the invitation page for IM Buyers Club. And we just have a text, see more, and we select new tab. We update. So there we have the video now, and then triggers already now on where to, which pages to put it on. We will keep this on all pages, and in this case we will use, let's say we use we use a delay, or let's use a scroll percentage. Let's put 10% of the page. This will display all the time. It will display on all kind of screens. We update. We choose the display where we want this. We want this to display in the middle center. And here will be displayed constantly, so we put -1 there. We will have the close button, and we will have the branding. Let's take away the branding since we have another. It will be more noticeable. Then we have the colors. Let's put a title color. Let's make this green this time. And you can also put hexacodes here if you have an exact color you want. There will be no pattern, or maybe we can have a pattern behind this time. Let's put the wiggles. We keep the background white since we have the pattern. Button we can have another color. Let's keep this a green color too. Okay, so this was the text. Here's a button background we should have. And the button text color we can keep white. We can put a border on this also, and a border color. Let's put this green also, just to keep it the same. And we have the rounded. Here we can also have a straight, but we keep the rounded. We keep the shadow. Entrance, we can just let it fade in and fade out. It will be when somebody press the exit button. We will have no animation on this because it will be enough animation that the video is playing. By the way, video is not playing automatically. That's not an option. So the visitor had to play, you have to click on the play button. So that is, I think we have all there. Let's choose the close button color also. Let's put that red. So we update that. So it should be okay, I think. And we switch on this. Let's correct my spelling here. And we switch it. Let's update that. And we switch this on. So now we have two notifications on this campaign, meaning on this site. So let's see how this looks like. We come back here, we control reload, which should clean the temporary cookies. And we can first have a look at the first information, which is still there, which you see here. It will disappear. And then you remember the second one, which was the video. We have the scroll 10%. This is a long page, so I have to scroll quite a bit. So depending on how long your page is, you can choose, you have to adjust the percentage according to that. So here we have the video playing, and we have the button, which you see takes us with a new browser window. Open the club site invitation page, and we have the close button here. So I think we will stop with that. That's two examples of notifications. I think with this you should be able to see all the other notifications also, what you want to do. The same principle, just some kind of different settings. For example, the email collector have some name or placeholders. You can also have different, in this case you can also collect if you want to send it with a webhook to any autoresponder, for example, or if you want to, if you don't select this, it will be saved only in your PROFOMO account, whatever somebody enter here. But I'm sure you will see all these different kind of notifications. You will find how to do that yourself. So with that, I finalize this. I will note in the video the different parts so you can easily find it afterwards. But right now, I hope this is enough for you to get started. Thank you for watching, and please send me messages, open support tickets, or however you can reach me, and if you have any questions or comments. Thank you. Bye.